Hi everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Welcome everyone to episode 28 of Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. We're continuing on our Final Fantasy IX playthrough. Episode 6 is where we began that, so if you're wanting to just start at the beginning because you're new, I'd recommend it. If not, and you want to just stick with us, well, we're continuing on. We left off last episode with, well, really, we kind of just finished off Trino, 100%.
Yeah.
We went through it, we watched all the ATs, we know that Aiko came in and said something's going on, and we got to get to Alexandria. So,
Yep.
from there, where it goes, we will get to in a second because we did have a
Yep.
whoopsie last episode.
Yeah, made a mistake on this. So when we were talking about the Stelazio coins, and it's kind of like while you're in Trino, something that you can do.
Yeah.
You don't have Sagittarius yet.
No.
So that was my bad. I forget you only get Sagittarius coming up here in a little bit. So
Right.
basically, just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and that's what even I thought. I was like, oh, because it was in the notes, and, I just kind of assumed that I probably missed one. But,
Yeah.
so you don't have 9, you would just have 8. So that ninth reward
Sure.
we went over for the 20,000 gil, well, you couldn't get that. So if you're thinking you missed one, you didn't. We're going to get to that now. So, our bad on that. Whoops. But regardless, yes, so after Trino, it goes to kind of a forced little scene with Kuja. He's in Alexandria, right? He's just kind of talking about like everything's coming together, my grand scheme type of deal. And after that, really, well, I mean, it kind of just goes right into an ATE, or not an ATE, but a cinematic.
Yeah, a really cool FMV here. This is kind of the part in the story where, I mean, we've been saying this for a while, but again, like things are really heating up now,
Yeah.
and we're starting to get there's some awesome FMVs with this game at this point, or at this point in the story. So he calls our old friend Bahamut,
Yeah.
and then Bahamut just basically starts tearing up Alexandria.
Yeah, no big deal. Just
Yeah,
spitting
right.
fireballs all over the place, destroying things.
Seriously.
And yet it shows Dagger in that too, and
Yeah.
she's just horrified, of course, as anyone would be. But something you wrote down that, yeah, it is pretty funny. It's like, yeah, I mean, seriously, everyone got back to. It's like, oh, okay, the Queen's dead, Ifitri and all that. Well, I mean, did we just, that was it? That was the game? Everyone's like, okay,
Yeah.
we're continuing on our lives, no big deal. All that stuff is behind us now.
Right. I mean, all that stuff, we had all that new information with Kuja and
Yeah.
everything at the last part of the Aoife tree. And then all of a sudden, yeah, we get back to Alexandria. I've got the coronation of the new queen. And then Zidane's just pretty much bummed out about all that stuff. And everybody's just forgotten about Kuja.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, would you expect him just to kind of like disappear or something? No, he's going to keep hassling us. So.
Yep, and so so here he is. He summoned Bahamut. Yeah, it kind of, we're gonna be jumping around a lot here, trying to just get through the story because that's essentially all that it is right here. There's hardly anything to do that you can kind of have freedom to do. But it goes into Beatrice, coming into Dagger, be like, yo, we're all ready, the soldiers, and it goes out to kind of like, the middle of the castle, and yeah, the soldiers are ready. All 8 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, I don't understand. Just the 8 Pluto Knights and Steiners. So this is our army, apparently. This is what we're working with. I mean, where the heck are the Beatrix babes at?
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
seriously, like
I
they're
know
just gone, I guess. But
I mean, if anything, it's a wake up call to everyone in this entire game. It's like, yeah, maybe we should have an army larger than 8 knights, Pluto knights at that, right? And so, regardless, here is one little kind of thing where you're Dagger and you're addressing the Pluto Knights, giving them orders. And so, dude, I don't know how the heck you would ever know this or pay attention enough that's like, oh yeah, I want to learn all about these knights, way back at the beginning.
Yeah.
But there are correct orders. So there's like pair of knights, you got 4 orders to give, and there is a correct one for each. And so
Yeah.
basically just going through it real quick, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna do 2 and then you're gonna do the last 2, man, because those names look way harder. So
Thanks.
For gathering information, right? I think that's the top of the list. So gathering information, you want to send in Blutzin and Cole, I guess.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You got the next one is protect the townspeople, and that's going to be Weimer and Hagen.
Okay,
and then there's 2 other ones. I'll let you do it.
Yeah. You did get the easier ones, man. Thanks. So then you've got contact Lindblum and request reinforcements. Here we go. Breirect and
Sure.
Lotto.
Yeah.
Begin preparations to fire the cannons. Dojibon and
Malinkendheim?
Malinkendheim. Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so apparently, like Mark was just saying, I don't know how you'd actually remember this or know this, but supposedly you're supposed to like know this based on talking to them at the very beginning of the game. But anyways, so you get a prize at the end of this depending on how many of the pairs you ordered correctly. So if you got all 4, you get the best item out of this, which is the angel earrings. It is a really awesome item. It's an add-on. It has auto regen and MP plus 20 and Reese's Wind as abilities. If you got 2, you get an elixir. If you get 1, you get a high potion. If you get 0, you get nothing.
Right, and you'll know if you have gotten one wrong, which, after going through this and relearning all this for this episode, I realized how many I got wrong all the time in past playthroughs. But if you do get a wrong pair, if you sent the wrong pair for the wrong thing, they'll be like, well, try our best, Your Highness, and that's when crap, I messed it up.
Yeah.
But regardless, once you do get through that, whatever rewards you get, hopefully you do get the angel earrings. Beatrice will hand you whatever that item is, saying you did a good job. Mm-hmm. And then they, meaning Beatrice and Steiner, go off to fight. So, we did get a glimpse of the Bahamut, but apparently, Kuja is just summoning his fire casting Mistodons again, is essentially what. So that's why they're getting attacked there on the ground. But now you got Steiner and Beatrice. And so it's pretty cool. First things off the bat, dude, the song, I totally forgot about this song. It is, I think, the only time it plays this. Awesome track. It's called Something to Protect. I will put it in the blog post for this episode. So if you're interested in listening to that, or you can just look it up wherever. But awesome soundtrack.
It is really good.
And is this the first time that Steiner and Beatrice, you get to use both of them in a fight?
Well, so there was that time at the on disc 2 at Alexandria where you got to use Freya and Beatrix, and then Freya, Steiner, and Beatrix. But as far as I know, this is the first time that you actually get to like look at Beatrix in the menu, right?
That's true,
and like mess with her equipment and all this stuff. So it's kind of cool in that regard because you have full control of Steiner at the very beginning, and you can equip and unequip things on Beatrix. So as far as that's concerned, there's just a couple notes here. Basically, she's got a really good helmet. You can take the cross helm off of her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really, you can't really do anything else. Her weapon, you can also check out, she's got the Save the Queen. And just a fun fact about that, she's the only character in the game that can equip Save the Queen, and you can't unequip it or do anything like that. So
yeah, it's her sword. She's like, no way, man, I'm not giving this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so like Alex said, yeah, cross helm, definitely just get that off her. As far as Steiner goes, I mean, really, the fight's coming up. It's still Mistodons, right? So, really it's still going to be pretty easy. But, if you just want to, make sure that Steiner is doing the most he can do with Coral's sword, you should be, honestly, you should be doing more than Beatrice. His regular attacks were doing about 1,100. Beatrice was doing about 9. So Steiner really starts to step it up. But, there's some abilities like Undead Killer, because Mistodons are undead, Insomniac, MP Attack, all those things. But regardless, they're all pretty darn easy. And that's what you're going to be fighting. So essentially, all you have to do is just be working your way south. You kind of start in that square area where the jump rope is, where, the Ticketmaster is. You're just heading south, kind of towards the, I don't know, I guess pub is what it was, the new
Yeah,
pub.
pretty much.
And you'll just be fighting Mistodons. It has some story here. It goes through, but regardless, you'll just be kind of just moving the next screen, move the next screen, fight. They'll talk in between and that kind of deal.
Yeah, and just one thing I will note, that this was a mistake I definitely made. Don't forget that the Mistodons are undead. So do not have the blood sword equipped on Steiner, because what'll happen is it'll kill him and it'll heal them. So that's just like a little note that I've definitely made that mistake before. But like Mark was saying, you just progress south, you get in a whole bunch of force battles, and then there's a point at which you have like a series of successional battles that you can't access the menu in between. So just make sure that you don't have any rare add-on equipped on Beatrix, and you'll be all good with that. Then we shift over to Dagger in the castle.
Yeah, and she kind of is like hearing a song play or something, and so she's starting to go. You're controlling her, and you're starting to go investigate. It's very linear. You're not allowed to enter areas that you basically don't need to go. There's like some magical light that blocks you or something. And so you kind of just head on up. Like I said, you're kind of right underneath her throne room type of deal, and so you just got to go up and go through some stairways that you've never been before. There's like some knights that cross their swords, which it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm not escaping back down. And so it's just kind of leading up and up and up. And then it goes to some more cutscenes where now you kind of understand, or she understands like what's going on. Aiko's also on the airship that Sid and Zidane and Party and all of them are coming in on. And she kind of floats away. She floats on down because it's like the crystal, right? So her like amulet crystals, we kind of talked about the crystals. We know that Dagger and Aiko both have these crystals. Well, now they're like, they're reacting to each other. They're reacting to Alexandria itself. And now we know why. And it's because the Eidolon, legendary Eidolon, right? As Kuja puts it, Alexander is summoned. Massive wings over the castle, right? It's blocking Bahamut. And then he really eventually attacks back, and oh my gosh, man, it's like, all right, here we go, because he just totally takes out Bahamut, man. No problem. He like shoots out like 50 laser beams.
Yeah, so it turns out that pretty much Alexandria Castle was Alexander or something.
Something like that.
I guess it's open to interpretation, but that's how I take it.
Same.
And anyways, so basically Alexander defeats Bahamut. Kucha's just like, again, power hungry. He's like, all right, well, I've got to capture Alexander at this point. Then we get this reoccurring eye in the sky thing. It calls down the Invincible to come in and enslave Alexander just like he did Bahamut. But something happens here where we get kind of a new antagonist to the story. This old guy Garland, and he says a bunch of kind of like cryptic things about you'll find out my power soon enough, and what your purpose is. You too, Zidane, that kind of thing. So it's like, how does he know Zidane? So we got a new antagonist to the story now.
Yeah, and it's we know because of that Zidane comment that he's not friendly to us, but he's also not friendly to Kuja. It's kind of like you've overstepped your bounds, and he just kills Alexander, right? We know that Kuja was trying to enslave him, but Garland is the old guy, right? And he's in the eye in the sky is what it kind of looks like, and you get a little larger picture of what that actually is. And he's like, you know what, screw you, man. And he kills Alexander instead. He doesn't enslave it. He just kills it. And so here is where you are now given control of Zidane. And you are in the castle. And the only thing we need to talk about, and I don't know how much we can even talk about it, is this is your last and only chance at this point, if you haven't, to kill Tantarian and fight him. But man, as we talked about this fight, I don't even know, that was a while ago, and it was much easier because you had Steiner. Remember, you have to hit Tantarian for in between 150 to 200 damage. And honestly, with the party you got right now, I don't know how you're gonna do that. I think the only changes to get into that too is He has Doom now, I think, is a new one.
Yep. I think that's new. I was
think,
thinking the
yeah.
same thing.
And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about Doom at this point. So you
Yep.
just, whoever has it will die. Just revive them back.
Yeah.
Honestly, from what I read, there wasn't a whole bunch. It's just kind of like have Freya and Amarant heal. Vivi you still need, because remember, you have to do magic damage to him. So you still need Vivi using Fyra or Bio. Zidane Steel, and other than that, man, I don't know. I guess you just gotta find out whatever does 150 to 200 damage to him.
Yeah, see, I think the strategy this time around is basically just try to get lucky with that.
Yeah.
But another thing that you can do this time around is use a tent on him and hope that he gets hit with the status ailments. If he gets hit with blind, that can help with I think that can help with Paper Storm.
Yeah.
We're getting that to miss a couple times. But in general, it's a lot harder to beat him this time around. But like Mark was saying, this is pretty much your final chance of beating Tantarian. So if you want to do it, now's the chance.
Yeah.
And after that, we just head up the same way that Dagger did, and on with the story.
Yeah, and they basically get to the final staircase that leads up to where we know Dagger is, because we went up that staircase as well. And I don't know, I always love the logic, man. It's always kind of the same things with, like, you're timed and you got to go rescue someone. Yeah. But it's always like, well, but we're going to do a bunch of those first. It's like, oh, we got to get to Dagger. We got to save her, blah, blah, blah. And then they just all stop and have a discussion on their feelings at the bottom of the stairs. And it's like, are you going to go get her? Like, you guys are wasting so much time right now.
No, we got to talk about who's going. Well, I want to go by myself. All right, fine. Have fun with that. Yeah, it's always like this.
It is. But regardless, it goes to the last cinematic here. We kind of gave it away. It's where Alexandria just basically gets vaporized by the eye in the sky and Garland. It goes back to Garland. He kind of talks about cycles of souls, and it's like a meager amount, and Kuja's playing his part well, but it's all very obscure right now. We don't really know what it means. All we know is, great, now we got another bad guy here, and basically, I guess to kind of finish that up is, Zidane does get to Dagger in time and saves her, and Aiko's saved as well, and that's kind of that. We grazed through. It was a lot to get through, a lot of story pretty much, but after that, it moves on, and before we move on to what that is, let's do our bold move. Alright, man, let's have you start us off here.
Alright, this week I'm taking it to Final Fantasy X. See if you guys remember. So, when the party is at Mayhem High Road, and then, Titus meets Rin for the very first time, and he's like, you should learn how to speak Albed and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, but be careful where you speak our language. Titus goes, yeah, I hear you Albed aren't liked very much. Ooh, that's bold.
Rin's like, no, we're not, you jerk.
Yeah, right? That was pretty bold of him to say, and he knew it too, because he kind of tried to backtrack. He's like, whoops.
Foot and mouth. Say whatever. Yeah. Whoops, man. Sorry.
So what you got, Mark?
All right, like I said, I'm on a Final Fantasy VIII kick. So,
okay.
We're sticking in Final Fantasy VIII. And, it was a very bold move for Squall to start to talk to his past self when he meets him. It's like, dude, you don't know what kind of, things this is going to occur and set off. Like, you can't just go to your past self and be like, sup, kid? I'm you from the future.
It's like a butterfly effect, huh?
Exactly.
You never know what could happen.
That's Matron 2 and stuff. It's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Stop messing with the past.
Yeah, who knows if that's actually what caused the whole situation.
Yeah.
Right?
All this cause Squall, and he just couldn't keep his feelings in check in the one moment that he should have,
That's a good point, man.
But pretty bold move.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get back to the story and see what is in store for us next. All right, so through all of that, when, the scenes end in Alexandria, it goes to Lindblum. You're in Lindblum. So here we go. Lindblum round 3. Here is another moment where you probably want to save it at the Maquis, I think, which is in where you wake up. Save it first thing,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Just because we got some ATEs, they aren't kind of particularly hard, but you just have to really be careful and mindful in order to get it. I've never gotten the last AT until I did it this time, so
This
moving,
is very difficult, yeah.
yeah, so it's crazy. So just follow us and we got you. So you do start out in that royal guest room. Couple treasures here. You got Egoist Armlet is right there. It's actually pretty good. It's got level up on it. I mean, plenty of things to do at this point, but the more the better, in my opinion.
It's got good evasion too, though, so it's like the newest armlet, so it's always good to have.
Yeah, so there you go. There's also an elixir up there. And then, as I just alluded to, Maki the Moogle is there. Save it with a different save file, please. And then you also will get another letter. So it's Maki to Mudon, and that's actually going to be delivered very soon. But essentially, that's all he kind of got. You're headed out of the room, and Blank comes in, and he's like, yo, you got to go see Sid, or maybe like you got to go find Dagger. I forget exactly what it is, but here is your first important thing, is that you are given an option in dialogue as a Dane on what to select. I can't remember what the other option is, but you want to select Where's Dagger. In fact, you have to in order to get some of these ATEs that are otherwise missable.
So for that one, you get the My Bad ATE.
Yes.
So then you watch that, then you move another screen. You basically leave that place, and then you get the ATE Something Washed Ashore, and I just love this one. I mean, here we go again with Kina, like just
I'm an old sea dog.
magically showing up, and they're like, the heck is this thing that just washed up and everything?
Yeah.
And it's Kina, so
yeah, there she is. They're like, it's dead. And yeah, the old dude's like, get out of the way. I used to be a sea dog for many years or something like that. And he's like, yeah, it's dead. Totally. Of course, she just stands up right behind him. So, yes, Kina's here. Why wouldn't she? I don't know how in the world she washed up here. But, hey, she gets around.
It's been forever since we've had Kina in the party, right? Like it's been
my
since
gosh, dude, so bad.
basically Aiko joined way back in
yeah. What was that?
Anyways.
I think Conde Pate is the last time we had her. Yeah, like goodness, it's been forever. But yeah, so that is the Something Washed Ashore ATE. Right now, essentially, what you have to do is we know that Dagger through the story is up by the telescope, so we just gotta head there essentially. So take the lift, go to the upper level or whatever, go up to the telescope, and Zidane, is super excited, is talking to her. She's not responding back. He's essentially just having a one-sided conversation, and then she's like, Dagger, you're Zidane, you're sweet, or something like that. I don't know, but regardless.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's this. Keep in mind, like, Alexandria just got absolutely decimated, so he's trying to be all sympathetic to the fact that she's going through some serious stuff right now, but yeah, she's not talking or anything like that. I messed up previously, so this is where you actually get the My Bad ATE right after the talk here.
But to your extent, you brought it up, is Where's Dagger option. That is what unlocks the My Bad. And so, yep, you will get it right after the conversation. It's really short. It's just like Blank saying like, oh, I forgot to tell him to, go talk to Sid or something. Regardless, if you walk out the stairs, Blank is there and tells you to do so anyways. So go ahead, walk up, talk to Sid. And he just has some stuff he wants to talk to everyone about. So you have to go ahead, head right back out, go to the conference room. That's what I'm calling it, at least, and so.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is just where, they're basically debriefing the situation with Kuja. And now we're going to start strategizing. So it's funny. It only took, Alexandria getting completely decimated for us to finally take Kuja really seriously now. But anyways, here we go. We're talking about it, and we find out that Kuja somehow was able to get the Hildegarde 1. Which is one of the airships that Sid made when he was human, and it can fly without mist and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we know that he's with talking black mages, right? The black mage is not a big deal anymore, but it's talking black mages. I think right before we get all that, it does have a forced ATE. That's called self-reproach. So you can't miss that one. It's forced. It just goes to Dagger, and she's just dealing internally.
Yeah.
with basically everything that's going on. I mean, as Alex just said, I mean, there's been some stuff going down. She just lost her mom. She just lost her castle, her
The
town.
city,
She's
everything.
feeling like she failed everyone, and everything's her fault. And so that's kind of what that AT is all about. Then it goes to, we know that Kuja stole the Mark One with the talking black mages, and now Vivi's having a meltdown where he's literally yelling in all caps like, "No! Ah!" I mean,
I
he's
love that, yeah. 'Cause
screaming.
yeah, it was like, he's just, so upset about that and everything, and what
Yeah.
we know about the black mages and the ones that can talk, that's why. But yeah, then we get this for another forced ATE that is deep anger.
Yep.
This takes us to a scene with Kuja where, you can see he's got the Hildegarde one and all of the black mages and everything, and Kuja's just crazy. Like he's the classic sort of unhinged villain where he's sitting there, he's literally talking to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of this kind of stuff. And then he's also got Zorn and Thorn there with
So, yeah.
him. Because those guys they're nothing without their leader. So now he's their leader.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's screaming at them to shut up. He's screaming at the black mages to shut up. He's like, "I didn't ask for your
Yeah.
number." And so he's
Yeah.
definitely getting a little testy, is what it is. And he even refers to Zidane specifically, like, "You'll get yours," or something like that. And it's like, why does everyone have a beef with Zidane, man? Like, come on, we just worked through with Amarant. Now we got some Garland weird old guy after us. We got Kuja directly after us. It's like, what did we do, man?
Everybody hating on Zidane.
Yeah, poor guy.
Seriously.
And so it does go back to like the conference room or whatever I'm calling it, and they kind of are discussing Dagger. I might be wrong, or maybe this is in the room. No, there we go. I'm remembering as I work through it. So you do go back to the guest room. That's where Dagger is, and you're supposed to go get her, right?
Yeah,
So
because
everyone goes in there. Doc Tot goes in there as well. And
right.
that's when he's like, "Yo, Dagger lost her voice," is what it is actually. And
It's the way he does it too, because it's just like, they're like trying to talk to her and she just doesn't say anything. He just all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, it appears as though she's lost her voice," and it's like, really, you just know that now all of a sudden?
yeah.
I-
Okay, Doc. I mean, are you a doctor of intelligence and studies, or are you an actual medical doctor? Which one is it, pal?
Seriously.
But regardless, everyone has like the insanely overreaction to this. Steiner literally falls to
Very
the ground,
dramatic.
is sobbing. You got everyone that's like, "No, no." It's like, guys, chill out, man. She just lost her voice. It's not like, she'll never be able to talk and communicate with you. It's like
She's still alive.
she could still gesture, she could still write. Like she's still alive and right there. It's like, her voice. No. Why?
Of course, Steiner does this. This is like the same reaction he did when we saved Dagger from, Alexandria Castle after the Eidolons got extracted, and he's like dropping to his knees, going like, "I failed at protecting you," and all this kind of stuff. It's very dramatic.
Very dramatic. So if you ever lose your voice, anyone who's listening, just make sure you have a lot of close family and friends around you, and let them know. White on a whiteboard or something, and then they better all like just be tearing out their hair and wearing burlap sacks in mourning. So regardless, that's all there is there. You got to go back once again to talk with Sid in the conference room, or maybe it's up top in the throne room. It's all starting to get a little mushy in my brain now. But you're realizing that you have to go over after Kuja, but you need an airship, and it's kind of. There's no more mist, right? So it's got to be a good airship. So it's like, dude, this is never gonna happen.
Yeah.
If I'm an Oglop, I need to be a human again. Let's make it
Right.
happen.
Yeah, because we glossed over this because this is a whole lot of story. But anyways, going back to like Trino, he can't make a good airship while he's an Oglop because they were just on that airship and it sucked. It was like falling apart and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty much like Mark said, the strategy now we're fully 100% focused on Kuja. So basically the strategy is we've got to try and change Regent Sid back into a human. And the way to do that, Doc Talk gives us these 3 potions that we need to get: the unusual, the beautiful, and the strange potions. So we got to go out and try and find those.
Exactly. We got 3 potions, and you have to mix it at a 5 to 2 to 3 ratio. So let's keep that in mind. If anyone ever wants to turn back to human from an oglop, that is what you need. So before we go out into the city and learn more about ATEs and potions and other things, let's do our seed trivia. All right, so Alex is once again on his rank 23 seed trivia quiz. He kind of failed last week, or last episode, but that's all right.
It was tough. definitely turned it up a notch.
I did. I think we're back on par here. So let's get into it. So our first question is in Final Fantasy VII. And real quick side note, dude, why did they change Aeris's name to Aerith? Either way, I don't really care.
I don't know. It's like a lot of people are really hardcore that apparently it was mistranslated and it really is supposed to be Aerith. Apparently, but I still think Aerith sounds better. Aerith sounds
we
like
grew
a
up,
lisp or
you know,
something.
for I don't know how many decades was this game out with her name as Aeris. So that's like, you know, calling Cloud Sun, you know, or something. I don't know. Regardless. Clouth or Cloudy. Anyways, so Aeris wears bracelets. Like character model, she has bracelets on.
True.
Final Fantasy VIII. The little doggy, Angelo. His full name is Saint Angelo de Roma.
False.
Alright, Final Fantasy IX. Kina's roulette only targets enemies.
False.
That's blue magic, of course. Alright, false.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X. If you capture all of the monsters in Thunder Plains, it unlocks the Espada, Nemesis, I guess, or boss fight, whatever to fight.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The Espada and like the creature or carrier conquest or whatever. I think that's true. Sounds familiar.
Final Fantasy X-2. Pain is always ready to lay down the quote-unquote hurt.
True.
Final Fantasy XII. The scar on Bosch's face is over his left eye.
False.
Alright, our last question. Final Fantasy XIII, and I think I'm going to say this right. Is it Aegisol?
Oh, yeah, Aegisol, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It applies Protect, Shell, Veil, and Haste.
False.
Alright, man, let's recap it. So, Final Fantasy VII, Aeris wears bracelets in her character model. You said true. It is true. She does have these honker giant metal bracelets on her.
Yeah, she does.
I don't understand. But anyways, alright, next question. Final Fantasy VIII. Angelo's full name is Saint Angelo de Roma. You said false. It's true. If you Wikipedia, if you go to the fandom Wikipedia whatever thing.
How the heck would they know that?
Dude, I know, right? Like, I guess maybe if you look it up in the game or something.
I don't know.
I just thought that was hysterical.
I've never even heard that before.
Well, so originally I was gonna go into it to look up some of his abilities to do that, and I saw his full name. I'm like, I gotta ask that because what the heck, man? It's a freaking dog.
De la Roma.
De Roma.
Seriously.
All right. Final Fantasy IX, rather, the Kina roulette question. You said I say it only targets enemies. You said false. It is false. It targets everyone, right? It randomly applies death to everyone. So interesting. Final Fantasy X was the Thunder Plains all monsters unlocks Espada.
This is tricky.
You said false, or you said true. It is false. It is the Cactar King.
Oh,
Macalania is the Espada, or Macarenas, excuse me.
Macarena, aye?
Aye. Alright, Final Fantasy X-2. Pain is always ready to lay down the hurt. You said true, it is true. Because, do you want to get hurt?
She's getting
hurt. I mean, I don't want to get hurt, but I guess it's up to you. You're getting hurt. Alright, Final Fantasy XII. The scar on Bosch's face is over his left eye. You said false. It's true. There is a scar over his left eye. You got Miss 3, man. It's all coming down to his last question. Final Fantasy 13, the Age of Sol applies Protect, Shell, Veil, and Haste. You said false, and it is false. It is not haste, it's vigilance.
Yeah. I always remember that because you get a bunch of Age of Souls and they're really not that good. Like Sol is the one you want.
Yeah.
That's got like haste,
bravery, and faith.
Bravery and stuff like that. So it's really good.
All right, man. Well, you passed. You got it.
Yes.
There you go. Back onto the win streak again.
Heck yeah.
So, all right. Well, Alex attained his seed rank 23. And let's go ahead and finish off Lindblum. All right. So returning to like the throne room. I can't remember if you get it right when you're in the throne room. This is obviously after the whole, unusual, strange potion talk. Or if it's right when you leave. But regardless, you do get the ATE My Hammer, which there's only one person this could be about.
Yeah, and it takes you to the Tantalus hideout, which is of course that like bell tower thingy or whatever. And they're rebuilding it and all this stuff. And then Mark is just like, "Oh man, I don't have a hammer. Let me use your Osita." And he's just like. Nobody uses my hammer but me.
Yeah, he's like, let me find you one. I'll go find you one. Mark is like, just let me use yours. He's like, no one uses my hammer but me.
which makes no sense because we know in battles that his hammer freaking sucks. So
yeah, I don't. Maybe he doesn't want anyone to look at it to realize how terrible of a hammer it actually is. I don't know.
Garbage.
But that's kind of all it was. Just some fun little filler. It's always fun seeing the Tantalus group, and especially Sinon and company.
Does like the little Tantalus music too.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
So at this point, you are given free reign, right? We know like our actual role here is to go find these potions within the city, and so you're off. I would go ahead, stop by Business District first. It doesn't really. I don't think it matters too much, but just why not, I guess. So regardless, the first thing that you could stop in is the inn. We do have Mood in the Moogle. He is up there, so you can go ahead and instantly drop off that letter. That was a quick one. And
exactly.
You don't get any. So that's cool. There you go. One more letter delivered and on your way.
The diary in the inn might have like a new entry at this point.
Ah, crap, and I totally forgot to look at that.
We'll have to double check this, but maybe this is the point where where Zidane actually writes his own entry. Anyways, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that might be right. Yeah, we'll have to check that because those are really funny. So, yes. Other than that, go ahead, move into the next screen, and here it is, right? So you do now get the Sagittarius Delazio. It's essentially across the street from the pickle cart, kind of in that left little outlet you can go into. So pick that up, boom. Now you have 9. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Nothing really else to do here. I mean, obviously you could talk to everyone. There's some pretty hysterical little tiny snippets, as there usually is. Yeah. Make sure you stop in the card dude's house. That's the one that's kind of on that corner. Rob him again. He always has new treasure every time, and he's totally fine with you. Keep coming in and robbing. He just talks about the birds. He just talks about the birds, man. That's all he talks about. He doesn't care.
Doesn't he turn into like, I think his title turns from Card Freak Gone to Bird Freak at some point?
That wouldn't surprise me because he does talk about that this time. So if you do talk to him, he talks about maybe I should become a bird freak. That's what he says.
It, yeah. Because he's got like these pigeons roosting in his chimney or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. But there is
some good stuff.
Yeah, there's no elixir and remedy up there, so definitely stop by and get those. Keep going to kind of like where the weapon shop, synthesis shop, all that kind of little market area is. Weapon shop does have quite a few new things. So you do have, let's see, well, we got quite a bit. There's Magic Racket, which I think is, well, it's just a racket, so it's either for, Dagger or Ico. And it's got Berserk on it, interesting. And Mini.
That's a good one.
And is that just regular cure?
I think it is just regular cure. I was just looking that up. So the big one with this really is Mini, because I don't know, me personally, Berserk is a tricky status to use. Sometimes it's nice to put it on your allies if they're hard hitters and all that kind of stuff. But the real prize here is a new weapon for Vivi, the Cypress Pile.
Finally.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've had
is it the Oak Staff? Is that what it is?
No, that's like the original. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is.
This has Comet, and break, which are awesome abilities, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, but regardless, whatever that one is that we've had forever, I mean, we've had it forever, and so it's kind of cool to
mhm.
get some new magics. There's the Chimera Armlet. We've already had those. You will be able to get another one by Serpent Gate, which is where we will eventually get to. I mean, you can go there right now if you want. So
Yeah,
just keep in mind, you probably don't really need any more, maybe one or two more if you really want.
yeah.
There's a new headpiece, which is the Mantra Band, and that
Yeah.
also has HP plus 20%. So if you don't have that yet, I forget what the other item is, but there you go.
Uh, well, there's a couple of them, but I mean, HP plus 20 is an ability that I think uh, for Zidane and Amaranth, so that's
Yeah.
pretty nice. There's the Dark Hat, which is pretty nice. This, I believe, absorbs ice, which is going to come into play pretty soon. So definitely pick up a couple of Dark Hats.
Yeah, you got the Brigadine, which we found one of them way back at the Aoife tree, and you could have stolen another one from Soul Cage. Hopefully, you didn't kill yourself trying to do that.
Yeah, it's
But
not worth it.
you can buy it now, and that is kind of the top tier leather chest now. So you got that. And then the last item is plate mail, which is kind of the newest top tier, plate
Armor.
or
Yeah.
heavy armor. And so that's kind of all the items. The synthesis shop does not have anything new, but just I don't know, craft some extra things.
Yeah,
You should have quite
always.
a bit of money right now because we just got loaded in Trino.
Uh-huh.
But
And
don't hold back stopping up here. Or
that's
stocking
a
up
good
rather.
point. No, that's totally a good point. I mean, two good points actually, because we're coming up to a little situation here in which you actually don't want to have any money, but
Yeah.
also it's always a good idea, even with those old synthesis items, make extra copies of those because what's about to happen and what already kind of is happening is that
Yeah.
the old synthesis items are now components of new synthesis items, and it goes on and on from there. So you
Yeah.
really want there's no downside to having a lot of extra copies of these things.
Exactly. And I mean, just I think on my game, I had about 45,000 at this point, so I was
Yeah.
just stocking up. Same with items. Don't forget items. I mean, go ahead and
Yeah.
buy a bunch of high potions, tents.
Got money to
All
blow.
Phoenix Down stuff. Might as well just have it all. Regardless, once you kind of go through and spend all you want, Alice is she used to be the item chick, but now I don't know, is just rebuilding or whatever. But she's right next to the weapon shop on the outside, and she has the beautiful potion. So that's who you want to talk
Yeah.
to. Get the beautiful potion. And if you've done all the stuff we've talked about and everything you wanted to here, pretty much just head on over to the theater district.
Yeah, and actually we kind of forgot to mention, but basically, when you talk to people now, there's a little option where
Oh
it's
yeah,
like ask about the potion. So
right.
that's what you do. You just have to ask the right people, and Alice is one of them.
Yep.
After that, head on over to the theater district and you get a little scene of some of the Burmesians, right?
Yeah, you run into oh gosh, I don't know what their names are, I forget, but
Gray,
it's
Gray and Kai or something like
yeah, I
that.
think that's what it is. It's the couple that you saved from the falling over statue back in Burmecia, I think is what that was. And so
Yep.
they recognize the Dane, so they're just like, yo, what's up? And then like their 50 kids come forward and like, hey, and
They've
they
been
just kind of
busy.
talk about a little bit with that and how they want to go home. And then right after that is an AT that opens up right after talking to them. And it's called the
Yeah.
Rally. And it kind of just furthers more. It goes to Freya, and she found some Bemisian soldiers. And they're like, oh, what's up? And they're
Yeah.
all kind of they're scattered around the continent, is what they said. So they're all trying to gather up to head back and rebuild.
They're yeah, exactly. They're just basically they haven't seen each other in such a long time, and they're
Yeah.
talking about finally, okay, we should get everybody back together. We should rebuild our home. We should, start anew.
Yeah. Story of everyone's lives at this point, right? I mean,
Exactly.
Lindblum's in rebuilding mode. Alexandria's destroyed. Burmesia's
Yeah, all of the
destroyed.
kingdoms.
Yeah. But regardless, once you do get out of that ATE, go into the artist's house. You kind of have to. What is it? I think there's a treasure in there. That's the Lapis Lazuli
Yeah.
or whatever. there is that. You do have to talk to the artist about the potions. He says he doesn't know if one's there, but if you do find it, take it. And lo and behold, there is this strange potion in the house. So that's 2 down.
Yeah. It's just sitting in a corner, I think, or something like
Yeah.
that. So it'll just be an exclamation mark. Like Mark was saying, he claims he's like, oh, I don't know anything about that, but it's like, how would you not know if that's not in your place? But it is,
Hoarders, man.
and seriously, so you can find it there. Then you just head on over to the Tantalus hideout,
Yep.
go say what's up to your homies there, and it actually turns out then, you ask Cinna about the potions, and he's just like, oh yeah, I've got one. He has the unusual potion.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So yeah, it seemed maybe like a daunting task at first. Nah, you just gotta ask a few people, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Not too
I
bad.
got that, no big deal. So
Exactly.
at this point, once again, you kind of wander around. We already know there's nothing else to do in the theater district since the other section got kind of demolished. But you can hop into the hideout. You can see your new little model Prima Vista that you got, right? If you
Oh
did turn in.
yeah, that's right.
So that's there
It's
now.
just
It's pretty cool.
yeah, it's just like sitting on the bed, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's like at the bottom of the
Something.
beds or something, and
Yeah, it's like I kind of wish that it would have been like, I don't know, somewhere a little bit more prominent. But anyways,
yeah,
like what you're saying, it's there, so that's kind of cool.
yeah. Make sure you
Then
steal the treasures again. Make sure
that's
these
right.
kids keep getting all this money. This time it's quite a bit. I think if you collect all 3 of them, it's something like maybe 7 or 8,000 in total, and
Yeah,
so it's
it's
getting to
more
be
and
more
more.
and more.
That's right. And so this is that part that you were talking about where you want to spend all your gil coming
Yes,
up here real soon. I think this is, I'm
this
not
is
sure
the
if this is
yeah.
like the final chance, but
This is
basically, so head on over to the business district and make sure, this is kind of tricky. You want to have less than 50 gil. I know that sounds crazy, but this is for a missable ATE that you definitely want to see.
yeah, exactly. And that's why we were kind of saying, don't hold back, buy all this stuff. I mean, even if you loot the treasure chests in the Tantalus hideout, well, go back and spend it all. Less than 50, it's easy. If you get down into, under 100, just buy 1 potion. Potions are 50. So no matter what, you will be able to get under 50, no problem. But you want to do it. You have to do that if you want to get this ATE and get the achievement and all that. So this is the point to do so. Once you're ready to go ahead and head back into the royal chamber, whatever. Go give all the potions. It's kind of interesting. It's like, they just asked Zidane to go get the potions, and they came back and it's like,
Yeah.
I've already mixed it. It's kind of like, well,
I
did we
know.
want to let the doc do that? Maybe. Like, I understand it's just ratios and
Yeah.
stuff, but still, you ain't no
He's a
scientist.
natural.
You ain't no doctor.
Right. You don't have a degree in chemistry. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you
So
doing,
yeah,
Zidane?
let the dude that's actually qualified to do it take care of that.
Yeah.
So basically they apply the potion and everybody's holding their breath. They're like, oh, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And he turns into a frog.
To a frog.
So
Yeah, that's when he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, no more potions, no more anything. Let's
yeah,
find Hilda and get this taken care of. And so that's what, where we're at in life is, okay, well, now we have to go find Hilda to turn Sid, so that way we can go find Kuja. But Vivi does mention, like, hey, because no one knows where to even look, but Vivi's like, there were talking black mages with Kuja, so why don't we go to Black Mage Village? And so that's kind of where we're at right now, is we need to get to the Black Mage Village. I don't think they said it was a boat, but Sid kind of alludes that, hey, well, while we can't do an airship, we do at least have this that we got from Alexandria. Let's go get it ready to go. So that's where we're headed, is to the Serpent Gate. You do get that next ATE, which is no free lunch, which is right after leaving the conference room.
yeah,
Make sure you watch this. It's pretty hysterical. Here we are. We got Kina again. She's going over to Grandma Pickle, and
yeah,
Grandma Pickle's laying on her, her nice sales pitch again, like, hey, they're delicious, they're good, and Kina just goes and, I mean,
yeah.
she apparently ate 1 pickle, but it looked like she shoved in a good, like, 10.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you've never had a guy like Gazal pickle before? Well, then you got to try some. And then Kina goes over there. It's like, okay, I eat. And
Yeah.
she's just sitting there eating tons and tons of pickles.
Handful to handful to
And
mouth.
Yeah, and then is it Zidane as he's walking by,
Well, so you
basically?
have to, yes. So you have to go back to business district now, right? So
That's
the
how it goes,
ATE
yeah.
will end, and now you can still free. Don't go down. I know you're right there at the elevator. Don't go to the lower level. Nope, you have to go back to the business district, go to where the Grandma Pickle is, and then, yeah, that's when this scene plays through where, he's like, oh, hey, Kina. And Kina's,
Yeah.
in trouble. Grandma Pickle's like, yo, man, you gotta pay for this. You can't just eat free lunch. And Sedane's like, okay, so how much is it? Grandma Pickle,
Yeah.
100 gil. Dude, that is,
Yeah.
these pickles are, how much money did Steiner have to spend on those pickles to get a whole bag full of them?
Imagine $100 for a pickle,
Dude, he just
you
he
know?
just dropped like 30,000 gil on these pickles just to smuggle the
Yeah.
princess in. That's ridiculous. That better came out of the royal coffers, man. I'm not paying for that. I guess I
So
already
yeah,
did though.
he doesn't have the money. He's just like, oh well, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, he gives her all he has, and then she'll be like, "Hey, that's not enough." He's like, "Collect the rest from Baku," and she's like, "All right,
Yeah,
whatever." And
yeah,
so, to be continued, as long as if you did everything, that's why you're getting these scenes. So you're still good to go. You're not missing it out yet. Now you do need to go ahead, go back to the castle, go down to the Serpent Gate, and essentially head into the Blue Narcissus. Remember, there's that Chimera armlet that's kind of by the Serpent Gate if you want it. It's kind of like a hidden little
yeah.
treasure in the corner. Snag that. But once you head to the boat, that is when instantly this secret, because let's be real, this is a secret, dude.
The
Who
secret
in their
one.
right mind would be like,
I don't know.
yeah, I need to go ahead and have less than 50 gil right here. I mean,
Yeah,
unless you
how
just
would you
naturally
have
went
less
on
than
a
that
big
amount?
spending spree, and you just bought all this new stuff
But
and you just happen to have under that. But
well, that's the thing. It would just have to be like random, and
yeah,
I've never randomly had that
no,
little amount of
because
gil at this point in the game.
yeah, you don't want to leave yourself with that little amount ever,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
regardless, you do that though, and here you go. It's a forced ATE, so you don't have to worry about it. It's the
Yeah.
secret one is called "Give Me My Money," and
Yeah. Yeah.
here we go. And we got Baku going by, and he sneezes, and Grandma Pickle's like, "Oh, hey Baku, so
I've been looking
Zidane
for
told me
you.
you'd pay me."
Yeah. And it's just like, for what? What am I gonna pay you for and everything? It's like, oh, you owe me for some of these. When his friends was eating all these pickles and all this
Yeah,
stuff, and basically Baku's just like, I'm gonna wring his
I'm
neck.
gonna ring it his neck. Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious. This is one of those super rare ATEs in the game
Yeah,
that honestly, if you haven't seen it, if you're not playing through the game, look it up on YouTube or
it's
something. There's
hysterical.
a bunch of these. It's really funny. You just got to watch it.
Yeah, and we'll post clips of it too as well this following week. And yeah, it's a good one. That one in like Crime and Punishment, I think hardly anyone has seen or even knows about. I didn't
Right.
know about it until we started this podcast series. So
Yeah.
really, really cool. At this point, there's a little bit more dialogue. You're about to get control of the ship, and so you can drive it around on the world map. But just kind of one little side note is that you have to choose your party. And dude,
Yeah.
we finally have all of the party members. We got a full party.
Seriously.
Kina's back. You might want to, if you intend to use her, you might want to put her in for kind of just
Yeah.
my game. She's level 16. Everyone else is like 22. So I mean, she
You're
is
gonna
really
have
far behind.
you're gonna have a bunch of underlevel characters.
Yeah,
So Freya, Steiner, maybe,
yeah.
all of these people. But yeah, at like what 25 hours into the game, the first time you can finally choose from the
Finally got everyone.
entire cast of members.
Yeah. And so before we continue out, because it's going to open up a little bit here, we are going to go ahead and end it for now. So thank you so much for listening, for hanging out with us today. If you would, stop off at our Instagram. It's Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. We just post, like, kind of just mentioned media and all that we covered in this episode. It's really hysterical to kind of see all this stuff. And then also our website is finalstopforfinalfantasytalks.com. As I also mentioned before, that's where our blog is. We post kind of additional songs, some info, see trivia questions, all that kind of in there. And it's just kind of a fun little thing to check out if you haven't before. Other than that, we will see you next time. I'm Mark.
I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.